Simon, obviously the big news this morning, Joe Cater leaving the club. Firstly, a word on him and your time working with him at Hull FC.
Yeah, obviously we wish him well. He's gone to take up an opportunity that can give him the best chance of earning himself a deal for next season. My time at the club has been good, trained well in the pre-season. He just hasn't really got going with the injuries throughout the year, and obviously that's off the back of a couple of serious injuries prior to that as well. So he's had a tough go of it the last few years. But speaking to him today, I think he's in a good spot. He's almost there playing wise, and he's ready to go on and have a crack somewhere else, as I say, to put his best foot forward for a contract somewhere next year.
How much did his injury record play a part in the club not offering him a deal for 2020?
That's one for Rich. I'm not sure. Like a lot of people who will be departing us, sometimes that's just the way of it. Time for change and things move on. That could have been in it. His injuries probably would have been part of it, because obviously what you get back for the money you put in, that's obviously part of your thinking as well. But yeah, I'm not sure on the exact detail, but as I say, we wish him well.
Of course, he's dropped down to the Championship for the remaining 3 months of the season with Toulouse. What would you say he needs to do in order to earn a move back to Super League for next year?
First, I think it'd be good for him. He's probably forgot what it's like to win. I'm not sure what the last time he won wearing a FC shirt. So Toulouse will win most of their games, I'd imagine, between now and then. So that'll certainly be nice for him, a nice little reminder of what that feels like. But he just needs to go and play well, get on the field consistently, and see where that takes him.
As has been reported, he's now the 27th player to leave or join the club this year. How's that been for you, working through that churn of players? Chaotic, to be honest, at times. I don't know, I don't want us to get ultra negative about it, because the scenario, it is what it is, we can't change it. But yeah, toughest year in my fledgling coaching career, if you like, for the amount of change. But yeah, it's all par for the course. Leads me on to Friday's transfer deadline, which is looming. What's the latest on being able to get anyone in before then?
I've nothing for you. I do know. Well, you look at people's teams over the weekend, and then bands picked up as well. I think everyone is in the same or similar boat of trying to pick up players, and that means not many people are looking to let anyone go. So pretty tough, I think. There's nothing jumping hours or off the page. I think there's still a few conversations that can be had and will be had, and as other teams add players in, some opportunities might come closer to the cut-off point. But yeah, our job, as I've said on numerous occasions, us as a coaching staff, we've just got to deal with that bunch we have that day, that week, and try to be as good as we can with them.
In light of your injuries at the weekend, what areas of the field are you pleading to Richie to try and get reinforcements?
All of them. We're down to bare bones. I think there's a concern there around, we're playing young lads anyway, who probably wouldn't have anticipated playing quite as much this year. So they're playing regularly now, and if we burn through them through injury or whatever over the coming weeks, that's the concerning part, because then we're asking, I won't call them boys because they're all young men, but we're asking, some really young lads, to be fair, to step in and do something that, truth be told, they're not physically ready to do yet, and that is a concern. But we've got what we've got, and it will be what it will be around that, and just hopefully we'll get a little bit of luck.
Just finally on recruitment, I'm sure you've seen the reports about the club possibly trying to bring in Kate Cust this year and of a potential move next year. How much is in that in terms of what you know?
I honestly don't know. I don't know anything. I do know Salford are a team who are struggling for players as well. They've never had a big squad all season, so yeah, I'm not sure they'll be letting anyone go. But again, that's another one for Rich.
Let's get on to your injuries then. How serious is the foot injury suffered by Liam Sutcliffe at the weekend?
It's a bad one. Requires surgery. There's a fracture in his foot and some ligament damage as well. I don't know the exact term of where the bracket and the injury, but it's a significant one which will need fixing. And significant time away from playing and training.
Out for the season then?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I know he was coy when we spoke to him a couple of weeks ago about his future, but has he played his last game for Hull FC then?
He could well have, yeah. Obviously speculation around him moving and all those little bits. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We've had a few go this year, haven't we, who've not finished on the best note for themselves personally. But yeah, shame for Sutty, because in trying time, difficult times, he's been pretty dependable and good for us. So yeah, shame.
In the here and now, who are you looking at to go in at centre this weekend then, in his absence?
I won't try and fool you, but I try and answer that one quite diplomatically and give you all the options we've got, but we haven't got a heap of them. Yeah, there's possibly some positional switches. Ed could jump in there. Ed Chamberlain. Brisk, done a good job when he's been called on in the centre in the past. Then you've got young Ryan Westerman underneath it all, which reluctant to do that. Don't mean that in a negative sense. I just mean we've got a lot of kids playing, and I felt at times it's not been fair on them. We're reluctant to shove another in before we really have to. But again, if we take Ed out of the back row, we've got a problem there, and it keeps going like that until we get it solved. So we'll just see what shape everyone's in on Friday as our last session and finalise it there.
What kind of shape is King Vinyalua in then?
Bad shape. King's done for the year.
Really?
Yeah, he's ankle injury, which fair play now. He's had the scan after and he's got a decent amount of damage to his ankle. Fair play for him for he knew we needed him. Coming out after half time, obviously got a pretty high pain threshold to push himself on for however long he did. Yeah, real disappointing. We brought him in as another big body, a ball carrier who, when you're taking someone like Herman off the field, for example, who carries well for us, you replace him with another big body. That was the idea of bringing him in. Yeah, just, I won't say it sums up our year, but it's kind of the way things have been.
Well, the phrase that comes to mind for me is when it rains, it pours at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Have you got Tiaki Chan though? I know he played for Wigan's reserves last weekend and that's caused a bit of confusion, but have you got him for this?
Yeah, Tiaki's back with us. So the loan doesn't have to finish. You don't have to terminate the loan to go play reserves. I think reserves is pretty fluid and you can go play in anyone's, you can dual reg to anyone's reserves. Yes, he's gone back to Wigan. Obviously they wanted to look at him. He's been away from them for a while. Played the game for them. Thankfully he didn't pick up any knocks and he's come back and he's in with us this week.
And then is Tom Briscoe okay as he didn't travel to Catalan?
Yeah, Brish just had a personal to deal with. As with all things, family first, and just give Harvey an opportunity to get out there. But yeah, Brish will probably be good for a week off, to be fair.
Looking at your slightly longer term injuries, Jed Cartwright, did he come out of his boot last week?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jed's he's run today. He didn't look too bad, to be fair. He's not joined in on the team and stuff yet. Certainly, he won't be available this week. But as with all of them, they have the return to play protocols they go through to tick them boxes and sign him off. Hopefully he gets through them pretty quickly.
And is Logan Moy back in full contact training now as well?
Yeah, Moy's trained. He's been fine. He could have played last week, to be fair. But after Wacker went well against Wigan, we weren't going to change it, as has been the way when Moy's gone well, the Wacker's missed out. So yeah, Moy comes back in a contention this week and we need as many available as we can.
I suppose most others are out for the season at this point, but Mitch Veliki-Japani, any update on him?
Mitch, he's joining in training now. It's hard to have like a baseline with Mitch, to be honest, because I have no experience of what he moves like and all those things from years gone by. But yeah, it's certainly a happier version of Mitch as opposed to doing the lonely running up and down the side with the physios and such. The aim is to get Mitch back playing, so he's been a long time off, hasn't he? So trying to give him that time on field to get some confidence back in himself and get himself moving. So yeah, I wouldn't expect to see him anytime soon, but good for him to be getting back out there with the lads.
Just finally on the negatives, you're without Linky Sow as well due to a too much ban. You thought after the game it should have been a 10-minute, so how aggrieved are you feeling as a result?
Yeah, look, at stand by after the game. I watched it back. I didn't think it wasn't a horrific one.
I think 10 minutes would have been fine, but obviously Liggy's, throughout his career, he's had some other bans for tackles around the head and such, which don't help you when it comes to the length of the ban and whatnot. But on the flip side, trying to give that silver lining bit, Liggy's played majority of games, big minutes. That couple of week off, it might be a good thing for him and us.
St Helens then, first meeting between the two clubs since that 58-0 loss
Yeah.
in your first game in charge. How much do you feel the side has come on since then? How much has perhaps this helped you put that into perspective?
I think at that time it was a youthful team that went and played over there, and there's been lots of change, as you mentioned previously, but a lot of improvement in a lot of areas across the group. Getting our men, if you like, back on field has helped that, but we've lost some of them now, so we'll be back to looking youthful. But hopefully we've learnt some lessons along that time, and Lou Martin, for example, is 8 games further along in his development and so on. We're up against it, it's a challenge. They're not in the best spot themselves at the moment, Saints. It's been a steep learning curve for those young lads, definitely. But we find ourselves in a position now where, like at the beginning of the year, the team is almost picking itself, and they're going to have to be tough and show some togetherness this week.
I know you would have wanted to take that next step in this sort of up curve of improvement, and back-to-back wins would have been part of that, which you've missed out on. But when you look at the results, and I think 6 of the last 7 have been defeats by 8 points or less, when you compare that to before, how tangible is that progress that you have actually made?
Yeah, it looks better, doesn't it, I suppose. But I'm going to try to get away from speaking about that, because we've got 8 weeks left. If we don't bring anybody's in, we are going to be pretty youthful till the end of it, and if we're going to go down the line of judging our performances just on the win or the loss, it could potentially be a pretty negative place to be and a negative experience for those young lads. So we've got some tough fixtures in the coming weeks, and our job is obviously to coach and what we've got, prepare what we've got the best we can that week. But we won't sweep the negative away, but we need to be kind of upbeat and try to keep everybody up, because we've got in our next few we've got some tough fixtures coming there. So we're going to try to concentrate on ourselves and try to keep smiles on faces with whatever's thrown at us.
St Helens, another team going through a tough period at the moment. What's going wrong for them, do you think?
I haven't paid too much attention, to be honest, but I do know they've got a heap of injuries, loads of bad injuries. Their a lot of frontline players that would be starting every week if everyone were fit have been absent for a while, and obviously there's a lot of pressure at St Helens. The noise will be pretty loud over there because of what they've been able to achieve in the last few seasons. People expect a lot of them, and I think are they joint second in the league? I don't know. They're right up there, aren't they? And the lead defeat might have knocked that off, I'm not sure, but I've seen it all, calls for Wellens and all that. I think a little bit of context needed around that club at the moment. They've got a lot missing, and some further bans this week. Percival, Lomax. There's a lot going on for them. I do think probably dark horses, Saints, in the sense that they get those blokes back towards the end of it. They're in the mix, and as we've seen before, you're only a couple of games away from getting to the big ones. So I wouldn't write them off just yet.
How much do you sympathise then with Paul Wellens, given their own injury crisis and the fact that you're going through your own?
Yeah. Look, we know how it feels, I suppose, but I'm not sure they'll be too worried about us or sympathetic towards our plight. No one is. Everyone's getting on with their own stuff, so not too much on that one for you.
How do you approach this game then, given the fact that people give you a good chance of pulling off a result here, given their injuries and their form at the moment, 5 straight defeats?
Well, I think you'll see the team lists, and both sides will be going, there's a lot missing, so it's a bit of I won't say it's wide open, but it could give you anything this game. I don't know how it'll go, but I know we're going to try and play how we've been practicing, despite obviously changes and whatnot. We'll try and make it our way of playing and just be smarter than last week. We give, I think, 8 or 9 turnovers in our half, and against a big team,
and Saints are still quite a large team, even though they've got the likes of Worms they're missing. We'll get punished if we do that. So as long as we learn lessons from last week, that's what I want to see.
So thanks for your time.
No worries.
Hi Grix, did get a chance to ask you this with Matt Russian papering on Saturday. How many players said trouble for that game? He's limping a bit. How's he doing? Is he pushing himself through the pain barrier?
Struggling. He's one we'll make a late call on. If he doesn't play, it's a loss to us. But again, a bit like the Liggy scenario, if he doesn't play, maybe that helps us. I don't know, because obviously he's played big minutes for almost every game, apart from his early ban. He's played big minutes for us and been great. So it will be disappointing for him not to play. But on the other hand, it isn't the end of the world either.
It's been ever present actually since that 2-game ban.
Yeah.
So the minutes have been ridiculous, to be honest.
He's been doing too much. But that's where we are. We've let a lot of people go, as I highlighted right at the beginning of this interview. There's a lot that have gone. We haven't been able to get enough back in, I don't think, to maybe take a bit of pressure off Herman in that regard. But no, he's been great for us, and if he isn't right, it is a loss, obviously. But again, there's a silver lining in that. If he ain't right, we don't want to risk it further. But also, if he needs that little bit of a rest, and it gives him a bit more in the tank for the next time out for us, and a nice finish to the end of the year, so be it.
Also, it does present, should it formalise that way, it does present opportunities elsewhere. Will Garda, you imagine, would come in. Obviously, he's stepped up recently, played a lot of games, played a lot of start. I know a spell away from the first team, but he's come back in. How have you rated his performances in the Spurs recently?
I think Will's been doing okay. It's hard to judge them all, to be honest, Dan, because if you look at other teams, for example, Farmond coming into Wigan's team, that's the ideal scenario for the young lads to come in, where they've got experience, they've got continuity of the selections, and the other players are able, I won't say carry them's the wrong way of putting it, I suppose, but support them, if you like, through. But because we've had that many playing in one go, they've had to just jump in and hold their own from the off, and they've done the very best with that. I won't knock that. There's obviously, all of them are rough around the edges. They've got a lot to learn, but this period will have been really valuable for them.
Could we spin that the other way and say, obviously it is adverse, the conditions that they've come into, will that help them in the long run as well as coming into a team that's winning and slotting in?
Yeah, I mean, I'd hope in the future, when these lads are coming in again, we're in a different position and it feels different, and it's a bit like training really hard out there. If you train really hard, the game doesn't feel that bad. It's a bit like this scenario. They can look back on this where it's difficult and getting dominated in games at times. When they're a little bit tired, maybe it won't feel as bad.
So going to St Helens this week, what are the messages you're looking for? Because obviously you've been big on sticking to game plan and playing with shape and playing with bravery as well, especially in your own half.
Same again, but understanding when to pull the trigger. It's nice having shape, it takes flies off. Rather than running to 3, you might run into 2. Making smart choices, I think, is a bit of it. But yeah, again, the team's going to be changed, so for us it's the route I want to go down is playing how we practice, obviously, but just sticking together. There'll be tough periods within the game, and they'll have to drag each other along. And if the communication goes off sometimes when you have multiple swaps and changes in your team, it's not getting flustered by that, and just staying in the fight. And with both teams depleted, if we can get to late in the game when energies are low for both sides, we'll see where we're at. But yeah, I think we just give ourselves the best chance we can.
That seems to be pretty consistent in terms of resilience and digging in and sticking in the fight. I mean, it was there again on Saturday, despite the situations that unfolded. So it must give you confidence at least that you can be competitive and you can get a result, especially if
I think it's good that we're building that ability to hang in there, definitely. But yeah, it's tough going. You need a bit more than that to get wins on a consistent basis in Super League, and that's something we have to strive for.
It's something you've been pretty vocal about as well, isn't it? I know the club, I know speaking to a few players, they don't want to just be a team. Oh yeah, we tried out. You want more than that, don't you? You want to win games.
Yeah, of course we do. But again, like I said before, I'm not going to go down that line too much for the next little while because of where we're at. I think this week we've probably got, if I'm putting aside Will Hutchinson, Will Kirby, I don't know, Ryan Westerman, for example, promising young kids who will be in with us next year, put them aside, I
I think we've got about 19, 20 able to select from at the moment. So it's not going to be easy in the next few weeks. So again, judging them just on winning, and I can't be kicking them with that one every week. We have to make sure we're making progress in the little areas within the game. I think that's where we need to keep our focus.
What's the mindset, knowing that you've only got those totals? Is it you just have to get on with it? It's not get
Yeah, I suppose it's back to the wall stuff. There's no white knight riding over the hill with cavalry to come and help you. We are where we are, and that's where togetherness becomes really important, because you face them tough moments in the trenches, and you're asking them, you need to be that bloke you'd want with you in that scenario, and I think they have done that. They've all tried like mad, but I think if we can be a bit smarter, we can then chuck our effort into some other more fun stuff as opposed to the scramble day.
How home game? Obviously, you spoke about fans at the beginning. How important could it be for them to help get you over the line then on Saturday?
It always is, I think. It's certainly appreciated when they're behind you. In France was unbelievable, really. It took me back to my playing days when Warrington used to have a big following go over there. It was good, we'd give them that fight, and I think the fans they've been good, but I think they've been anchored as well by what's gone on at the club, and probably come to terms with where we are on our journey towards getting back, and I think that's definitely helped us. But yeah, listen, it doesn't matter who's going out there, they're going to see some youth that are really proud to play for this club, and along with everyone else who are proud to wear the jersey, and they'll give everything between now and the end of the year. It doesn't matter who's on the pitch, they're going to give it all, and hopefully we get a little bit of luck along that way as well, and then we might get some wins, who knows.
Seems to be a connection there again. It did dip a little bit, obviously, with the results that happened over the past 5-6 years now, to be honest, but that connection seems to be restored a little bit now.
Yeah, hopefully. I think maybe we've made a start on it. I think we've probably got a long way to go to meet the aspirations and expectations, but yeah, I think we've made a bit of a start.
Cheers, Grix.
No worries.
Hi Simon, you said about being in your fledgling coaching year, and based on the difficulties you've faced and continue to mount up, are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, definitely. Big learning curve this year, not only for the playing group and those young lads, I think for all of us involved, and I think behind the scenes we knew what this year could be, but yeah, it's proven to be every bit, probably more hard work than we thought it would be. But yeah, like the players, it's good experience, and when things do get better, it'd be nice to look back on this period. I don't think we'll laugh about it in future, but look back and be happy you're not in those circumstances again. So yeah, there's still quite a bit of work to make sure we're not down here for long, but it's been an interesting year.
And is the work side of it, is it constantly on your mind?
Oh yeah, this isn't a job. I've said that before as well. Rugby leagues, it's coaching in particular. Lads come in, they train. There's only so many hours a day you can train and whatnot. So they come in, and lads, I remember I obviously played and did it. You're quite good at switching off and getting on with whether it's golf, computer, that most of them do these days. I don't know, but coaching, that doesn't happen. Middle at night, your eyes open and you're thinking about, we need to do that, or whatever it might be. It's that lifestyle bit. You're on for the, I don't know, is it just shy of about 10.5 months a year? It's quite full on, to be fair, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
You seem to be coping well at the moment anyway.
I don't know.
You said about the being down to bare bones as well, and it's happened in the past with LFC, former players coming out of retirement.
We've been into Gaz this week.
And yourself, any thoughts on that one?
I think I could be very good for about 2 minutes, and then it'd leave me pretty quick. Gaz probably get a bit more, I think. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be jumping out. We've got. It's just a reality. It's not their fault, not our fault. We are where we are, and we just have to get on with it now, and we can't moan about it anyway.
Yeah. And thinking about something that happened just before this press conference today, about Lennon and Logan that are working and caring for a young lad in the community. How do you see that working out amongst you? It must be good to see the young people getting involved in things like away from rugby as well.
Yeah, 100%. It gives them a look at suppose you can call it real world, because getting paid to come and lift weights, throw a ball around, spend time with your friends, it's not, can't really be deemed work, as I've said. It's not lifestyle stuff. Yeah, and good on them as well, for young people, for young men to be involved in that. In caring is not something you hear too much of, I don't think. I know Lennon, I spoke to him briefly on it, he enjoys doing it. Yeah, good rewarding job for him, and again gives him a look at something else, whether they look to do something, you know, behind the scenes alongside the rugby, I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely an admirable thing to go and do, I think.
Something that I suppose it sets up them young people focusing on, you know, the important things, and that can help them in the career, whatever's going there, especially if they want to continue.
Yeah, listen, rugby aside, doing any type of work, it develops your skills for all aspects really, and you learn a lot in rugby league when you get in your environment that's doing it well. The discipline and all them things, they all transfer over to many jobs. And those experiences within different environments and a different work setting, it'll do them well good.
Brilliant, all the best of the weekend.
Cheers.
How important is it for fans to, we've obviously spoken before about the playoffs, it's gone, it's a bunch of friendlies between now and the end of the season. How important is it for the fans to remember that and to realise that this is more about developing those young lads now that are playing regularly?
Well, I wouldn't label them friendlies, because there's nothing friendly about rugby league. I think again, it's about realising where we are, and I do think the performances, the changes, I think it's clear to see that it's a bit of a reset, if you like. It just happens to have happened in the middle of a season, or earlier than that, as opposed to in the off season. I think it's tough for everyone who supports Hull FC at the moment. Obviously, the other side are going real well, which, you know, fair play, because, you know, from the outside looking in, Hull FC have had the better of it for a long time. Now you have to swallow it that they're going well, but yeah, I think it's just important that they hang on to the fact that the change is needed, and it is going to be for the better. It might not happen overnight, but we've started it, and you've got to start somewhere.
And obviously, I think it's something close to about 20 young players that you played this season. How much have they benefited from it, and are we, with the likes of the recent performances, particularly the victory against Wigan, are we seeing now the results of those players playing so many games?
Yeah, they're all better for the number of games they've played. In other respects, it's probably shown them how far they've got to go to get to the levels. Like, some of them have dominated academy and reserves and they go great, but that step up to the next bit's a big one. So if nothing else, for a few of them at least, they've had a look and seen what the benchmark is, and they now need to go away and prepare themselves, the bodies, to try and reach that mark. But yeah, I think youth has got to be part of your club if you want to do anything. If you want to manage your salary cap well, even it's got to be part of your plan. And I can't say it's been neglected. I've not been part of Hull, I don't know, but I do know that the teams that produce their own seem to consistently be near top, so it's not a bad model to follow.
And we heard you talk earlier about Ryan Westerman would possibly be possible to play this weekend against St Helens, but you're unwilling to do that. Is it important to have that line to say, I am not going to cross that line with the young lads unless absolutely necessary? How important is it to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, just Ryan as an example, but I think Ryan, could he go and give it a good crack? Course he could, yeah, he could. He's been great for academy and reserves, obviously got opportunity to play for England, he's had a good year. But yeah, I don't know if I can call it a line, because we don't know where we're going to be next week or the week after, but I'd be reluctant to play some of them young blokes. Like Charles is a good example. It's not just about whether they can do it with the ball or whatever, or they can tackle or whatever it might be. The mental side of the game and these experiences and what they do to them, it's not all good experience. There's a lot of tough experience in there as well, and we don't want to put anyone through it too soon. And then obviously there is that physical side. you know, for example, John Turner, young kid for us that may well have a bright future. I don't know. I've not seen enough yet, but you know, would you want him turning out against Wigan in 2-3 weeks against Mago, Dupree, and you wouldn't, because it wouldn't be fair on them to go and put them through that. And they'd love it. They'd absolutely love to do it. Don't get me wrong, but if we can make the choice to protect them and look after them, I think we should. Whether we get that choice, I'm not sure.
What are the conversations like between yourself and the youth coach, you know, in charge of the academy, in charge of the reserve? You know, there's obviously going to be an ongoing dialogue. What are those conversations like at the moment?
Well, Fran is in with us in the daytime. I'm doing that of an evening, the nights they train. So obviously we have a close relationship on that front anyway, and obviously get to understand and know I watch the games. Don't always watch them live, but I watch all the games. So we all have an idea and an opinion obviously on who's doing what, but Franny being their head coach and in charge of that lot, he's got a list of who's ready next, and we'll trust his opinion on that. But hopefully we don't have to delve too far down that list.
One last thing, obviously I spoke to Matthew Peat and he said that their setup for their youth, it's about making them part of the club and making them aware that it's all the same for everybody. Is that the same sort of plan that you're working to here, that the reserves are part of the club, you know, around the first team as much, you know, as much as they need to be, and you know, making them realise just what it means to represent Hull FC?
Yeah, I think that's a work in progress. They know what it means to represent the club, obviously, but a work in progress to feel like a proper family, everyone on the same page. I think from a rugby angle, they're trying to play the same as we're playing all the way up, which is obviously what you want, some consistency there. But yeah, we're a bit fragmented at the minute, so we're still waiting on our pod and all those little bits which will pull us together as we move forward. But no, I think, listen, the majority of the lads in that tier below us, they're all from Hull, so they all know what it is and they all want to play for this club. And again, a lot of smart decisions have got to be made to make sure there's a pathway from scholarship all the way through, and that's a work in progress. We're not going to turn into Wigan overnight where the conveyor belt's flowing and they're all but hopefully that's something to aspire to.